What's up, everyone? Silver Slayer, welcome back for another video. Look how gorgeous this frame is in front of us. Man, look how gorgeous this stuff is. As a lot of you guys know, and probably you guys can also agree for yourself, constitutional silver or junk silver is what we first started stacking. Whether metal detecting or getting it, finding some spare change you got from something you bought at the gas station and saw a pre-1965 quarter, or your grandpa gave these to you as a little kid, which was my situation. As a little kid, every Christmas and every birthday, he would give me a mercury dime. He would find metal detecting, or whatever the case is, or a barber, and this is what really got me into liking coins. At first I didn't know about the value of silver. I just liked the coins. I thought it was like treasure hunting to me. It felt like I owned treasure, and I basically did, and this would forever spark the interest as I got older to realize the intrinsic value of silver. So this video is going to be talking about the benefits of constitutional silver. I wrote down a little list right here, all the several different benefits of this. So I'm going to talk about it. So first off, I just want to say constitutional silver is by far my favorite. It has many benefits. Many benefits. The first benefit is that there is a limited supply. They don't make this stuff anymore. They're not making Barber half dollars anymore. They're not making Morgans anymore. They're not making Mercury dimes anymore. So all of this stuff, there's only so much out there. And what do you guys know, over a period of time, when the supply is still high, or the supply is low and the demand is high, what does that do? That's why we're starting to see even Morgans start to grow a premium on them. Because people still want them. They're nostalgic. They represent a crucial time in U.S. history. They're gorgeous. They're silver, so as something to keep in mind is, in 20 or 30 years, it's probably going to be a lot harder to still find junk silver. It's going to be a lot harder to still find Morgans floating around in 20, 30 years. You have to think about that. That can drastically make them more rare and cause the price to appreciate. Another thing is key dates. If you buy or if you find some junk silver in a pile of change, or if I was to look through these, I might find some key dates in there that could mean this coin is worth a lot more than the standard Mercury dime I could buy from my local coin shop would be. And a lot of times, if you buy off eBay dealers or something, they don't even check for key. I'm sure they do. Sometimes if you buy a big batch, they probably don't, because they'll be looking through hundreds, if not thousands, of coins. So you might even get lucky if you buy a big batch on eBay. And speaking of buying on eBay, junk silver is probably the one thing that I will say is pretty safe to buy on eBay, because nobody's faking Mercury dimes. Nobody's faking, half dollars. So it is one of the instances where I can tell you that it's pretty safe. I've bought in junk silver off eBay before, and I've gotten some pretty decent deals as well. That is probably the one instance. The only thing I will not say is safe is Morgans. I know there are fake Morgans on eBay. So Morgans are probably the one thing that I would not feel comfortable buying on eBay unless it was a very trusted dealer. Another very beneficial thing about junk silver is that it's a perfect way to store or start collecting fractional silver. When we're talking about fractional silver, you can buy either 1/10 ounce rounds or 1/4 ounce rounds or half ounce rounds, from APMEX or somewhere, where it's basically just a generic round, but it's just a better way to collect silver in weights that are less than an ounce. Because if all you have are ounces and heavier, then what if one day you want to trade someone something that's worth less than an ounce? Are you going to take a chainsaw to that coin and cut it in half? I think not. So this is basically like, no pun intended, it's spare change, it's spare change. No pun intended, but it is a pun intended for this video while I'm corny. But anyways, it's a great way, because you got to think, when they're making these generics, these generic 1/10 ounce rounds, they still have to pay the same price to stamp that 1/10 ounce round as they would the 1 ounce. So that means they still have to keep the premiums high, and that's why you see huge expensive premiums on 1/10 ounce generics. Sometimes you can get some decent deals, but usually if you're buying an ounce in 1/10 ounce rounds, you're going to be paying around $30 for an ounce compared to just buying that 1 ounce. But with junk silver, it's a really cool way to still store some some fractional silver with some other benefits more than rounds, and also for better prices as well. I will say that there are premiums sometimes on junk silver, but it depends where you go. I get them for very good deals at my local coin shop. He charges me usually a little bit more for the half dollars than he does the quarters and dimes. I specifically like half dollars as well, so I'm willing to pay the extra. It's usually an extra 25 cents on top of, like, if he charges, $13 face for this, he'll charge me, $13.25 or $13.50 per face for my walking liberties and stuff like that. But I'm willing to pay that because I really do like half dollars. But obviously, you guys see, I love my Mercury dimes as well. Mercury dimes are probably my favorite. I love Mercury dimes, but yeah. Another very beneficial thing is that they are very low maintenance. Junk silver is very low maintenance. You don't have to worry about putting them in. It's kind of ironic, I'm showing you guys cardboard slabs. These are ones I've gotten from specific people, so there's some sentimental value in here. From I won this from the Silver Psyop. I won this from Mostly Outdoors. Some other people. I got this for Christmas from my grandpa. So there's some sentimental value there. So these are just ones I want to keep. But basically, I can, dig around, mess my hands up in this junk silver, play with it. I don't have to worry about it toning or milk spotting or anything, because it's really, unless, I do know people who keep them in tubes and stuff just because they don't want them to get worn down, since in 30 years these could be worth a lot more since there's a limited supply. But it's not like a high premium coin that if it gets a scratch on it, you're going to freak out and lose the entire value. So that's very good to keep in mind. One of the biggest, most important points I wanted to say for last is that it is trusted. When you're dealing with generics from a private mint that nobody's heard about, it can be very sketchy. It can be very stressful for the buyer, your potential buyer, because they don't know where this is from and they might assume it's fake. But junk silver, it's minted from the U.S. government, the U.S. Mint, and people know that, and they recognize it. I will say, though, you probably want, depending on which country you live in, you want to stack that type. Like this is Canadian. I guess Canada and U.S. are pretty similar. Like, people from Canada would recognize this. But if you're in a different country, you might not have the luxury of people understanding or trusting or recognizing American constitutional silver if they've never lived in America, unless they are really into coins. But this is stuff that the average everyday person who doesn't even know about kookaburras or pandas or anything, that would want to trade for silver would still recognize this, which could which could be very beneficial, depending on the situation of your potential buyer. I always talk about understanding your potential buyer before you buy yourself, because if one day you're going to sell, you want to understand how you're going to sell it, or you can really trap yourself in a sticky situation to where you might have a very hard time selling your coins, or have a hard time, getting them off, or finding the right person that's willing to pay your price. Because, like I also mentioned, your coin is only worth as much as someone's willing to give you for it. I could say this Morgan is worth $40 all day, but if someone's only willing to give me $30 for it, then that coin is really only worth $30. You know, just because I say it's a price does not mean people are going to pay for it, and you might have to find an individual seller that's willing to pay that price. So that's something to keep in mind. But with junk silver, it's very liquid. That's another very beneficial aspect. It's very liquid. I can go to any coin shop, you know, just sell him, you know, $10 face junk silver, and he'll give me, you know, $13.50 per dollar for it, or whatever the case is. And it's just, you know, I can get, you know, hit the road running after that with a pocket of cash, and you know, it's that simple. Where with other coins, it won't be that simple. Sometimes with other instances, though, with certain Morgans, like a Carson City Morgan or something like that, it might be a little more difficult because you're dealing with coins that have higher premiums. But you know, everything is speculative, and everything does have various factors attached to it. But this is the general basis about constitutional silver. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope you found it very beneficial. I know I have a lot of people who ask me why I like junk silver so much, and I haven't really made a video about this in a very long time. I used to talk about junk silver a lot, but this was months and months and months ago, when my channel was probably a tenth of the size it is now. And these videos always do very good as well when I talk about junk silver. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it. I had fun playing with all this silver and setting it up, and just enjoying this view right here. It's absolutely gorgeous. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video if you guys did enjoy it, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.